My name is John Pasfield, and the title of this reading will be John and Mother Goose, Video 1, the first chapter. So here is my novella, John and Mother Goose, the Carnival of Tales. Here's a picture of John and Mother Goose surrounded by nursery rhyme characters. And here's the summary. While driving his granddaughter home from daycare, John suddenly finds himself standing in the midway of a carnival of Mother Goose fairy tales. He's greeted by Jack, of Jack and Jill fame, who tells John that Mother Goose is expecting him, as she has a role for him to play. But what does Mother Goose really want? Why does she think that John is a writer of detective stories? And why, when she meets John, does she greet him as almost a long-lost son? And for that matter, why do so many of the fairy tale characters have different stories that they want John to write for them, instead of the ones in which they've lived for hundreds of years? John's not a mythical creature. He's only a human after all, but can he save the Mother Goose Carnival? Can he solve the mystery of the vanishing fairy tales? Well, we're all aware that we dream at night. The proof is that we sometimes wake up in the middle of a dream or at the tail end of a dream and realize that we have been dreaming. Creating an imaginary situation, an imaginary society, or an imaginary world about which we only get a glimpse. We also have a term that is quite common, and that's the term daydream. This term suggests that as we go about our everyday lives, our minds are busy creating imaginary characters, events, societies, and even worlds about which we remain unaware. In chapter 1 of the story, the main character, John, me, goes about his everyday task of picking up his 3.5-year-old granddaughter, Savannah, from the house where she enjoys daycare. So let's have a look at the everyday events of chapter 1. So this will be page 3. Oops, I went past it. Here we are. The story of chapter 1. The nearby town of Benbrook, pulling into the daycare driveway, thanking the lady, Tammy, and buckling my granddaughter into the baby seat in the car. Now a song. Ba, ba, black sheep, have you any wool? Gives me a break from all that writing, something to get me out of the house. I plunge back into the stream and make my way. My wife and I used to make this journey about 2 or 3 times a week. Gives our son and his wife a break on the driving chores. Again, the little girl sings, yes, sir, 3 bags full. Finishing up a new novella, wondering what my next writing project is going to be. I always bring pens and paper. Once in a while I pull over and jot down a sentence or two. Driving on to Elfrida. New houses encroaching on country fields. My granddaughter sings a nursery song as we drive. So she sings, one for my master and one for my dame. My wife used to read the nursery books to our granddaughter. No doubt her parents do as well. And Tammy, the daycare lady, does the same. Together, they've covered just about every fairy tale. For kids, the nursery rhymes are in the air. I always bring milk and crackers. My granddaughter sings as we ride along. There's a crust of snow on the fields, but the roads are bare and dry. Late February now, so spring will soon arrive. And one for the little boy who lives down the lane. Who was it who said that there's only one story? One human story, and that is all. That every life is an added chapter. That every book is shining a light on a single tale. Perhaps no one said it. Perhaps it was me. Today, it's Baba Black Sheep. The other day, it was Farmer in the Dell. She knows Rain, Rain, Go Away and all the other songs. She always sings a song as the miles go by. Ba, ba, black sheep, have you any wool? Every human is living a story. We are born into fairy tale kingdoms, variations on similar tales. Myths are the building blocks of our gray matter and our bones. Washroom, coffee, toy store. A stop for her and a stop for me. She sips her milk and chews on her cracker. We always buy a little toy. Amazing what you can buy for 75 cents. We'll keep her occupied as she sings her way home. Yes, sir, 3 bags full. We are characters in Crime and Punishment. We are characters in Wuthering Heights. We are King Lear and Willie Loman and Oedipus too. Phaedra, Nora, Cleopatra, and on and on and on. We are the heirs of all the stories we make our own. In every fairy tale, we rediscover and renew our own stories. We're as unique as our DNA allows us to be. So that's chapter 1. John in his everyday life with his 3-year-old granddaughter Savannah, 3.5-year-old, and last February, just driving along from daycare, and he's thinking as she's singing the song Ba Ba Black Sheep. Now, H.M. Forster, the writer, said, only connect. Henry James, the writer, said, try to be one of those people on whom nothing is lost. The premise of chapter 1 is that John, as he drives his granddaughter Savannah from daycare to the stores and then to his home, is making connections between the everyday elements of his life and the elements of the heritage of his culture. In his everyday life, his granddaughter is singing a nursery rhyme, Ba Ba Black Sheep, in the back seat of the car where she's buckled into a child's safety seat. And he is driving past farmers' fields, which lie between the small towns of the area in which he and his granddaughter live, southern Ontario. The elements of his social heritage are all the stories that have been told over the generations, the centuries, and even the millennia, the shortest of which and the most memorable are the nursery rhymes. And being a writer, John considers that the nursery rhymes are condensed versions of the most time-honored of literary creations. He names a couple of those books to himself, Crime and Punishment and Wuthering Heights, and names some of the prominent characters in the literary heritage, both male and female. King Lear, Willie Loman, Oedipus, Phaedra, Nora, and Cleopatra. Presumably these connections are all conscious in the mind of John as he's driving along, taking his granddaughter from the daycare to the coffee shop to the little toy store and then starting out to drive home to his woodlot near Cayuga. But there are also connections being made at a much deeper level of his subconscious mind, creative connections, which are taking the elements that John's thinking about consciously and making them into a story that will begin subconsciously for John in the next chapter, chapter 2. So, this is my novella, John and Mother Goose, The Carnival of Tales. It's found on Amazon. You can have a look there for more information. It's found at my publisher's website, rocksmillspress.com, where there's more information, and at my website, johnpassfield.ca, johnpassfield.ca. There's 2 free books. There's a planning notebook in which I recorded my planning and writing of the novella. There's also a journal, a reflective journal, in which I wrote notes as I was polishing the novella. So those 2 books are free. Just click on the icon at johnpassfield.ca and have a look at what I was thinking as I was writing and polishing this novella. Lastly, I'll just say thank you for watching this video.